embarrassing.
I'm really plunking out to this music. Mine is so boring. It's just like elevator music, but this is like got a mean beat.
Yeah, we're hip hopping in here.
Definitely not that banjo shit you had on before. We're good.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Circle Club. I am here with a very special guest, as always, Miss Jamie Lee of In the Front Row. Excuse my state. I am in a very sick, disgusting state, but I'll try my best to keep you all entertained here today. How are you, Jamie Lee?
Yeah, real good. Real good. In the Christmas spirit. Best month, as you know. So yeah, I'm down.
Your
I'm
birthday?
Good. Yeah, man.
Man.
Party time.
I've always wondered, is like a Christmas birthday, is that good, bad? What do you think?
It's fantastic. Everybody remembers my birthday, and like my mom always calls me like her gift. So yeah, it's fantastic. I get double presents, so I'm lucky. Yeah.
I feel like there's a certain point when as you're getting older, and you start to experience Christmas, you're just like, eh. But then if you had a kid on Christmas, and it just makes it special every year, you're like, yes. Let's spoil the heck out of this kid, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm spoiled anyway, let's be fair. But I mean, this whole month is my month. So yeah, I'm very lucky. I got good family. Good
awesome.
Love.
That's what we love to hear. So we're here.
Real.
Yeah, we're here to talk a little bit about some DC. Some things have happened in DC, right? Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy here. So DC has decided they are going in a new direction. And so now there's talks of recasts and reboots, and no one really knows what's going on. Dwayne Johnson's been kicked out. How did you feel about all of that and just people getting reset and stuff?
I get it now. Obviously, when I heard the news, obviously that really hurt because it was very shocking to obviously everybody. I don't know a single person that doesn't like Henry Cavill as Superman. I've never met anybody. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But I can, and I've seen so much hate on the internet. Like it actually scares me. Sometimes I think, oh yeah, the internet's not too bad. And then I see stuff like fire James Gunn and like kill James Gunn. And I'm like, oh my God, what are people thinking? I get it's not all James Gunn's fault. I see that he's got like a long-term vision, and in order to achieve that goal that he obviously wants for DC, you do need a reboot. You can't have, bless you, the face of like the Snyderverse really as your way going forward. But unfortunately, I think that the way that they went about it was really wrong. Like I feel really terrible that he had to announce that he's coming back publicly. That all of this could have been sort of like swept under the rug a little bit if they had done this privately beforehand, rather than have him announce, obviously Warner Brothers wanted him to announce his return.
Sure.
And maybe that was a plug to get, Black Adam ratings up. I'm not quite sure, but I just feel like, man, that hurt. That would be so, I feel really bad for Henry Cavill that this is all publicly happening for him.
Yeah, no, to echo what you said too. It was really, to me, like this is sort of like the big difference between DC and Marvel for me, is it just feels like DC there's just a lack of respect, and it feels as if like the people involved in this world are expendable. It feels as if like the actors are just numbers. I mean, we knew I haven't read the Batgirl script, but like Michael Keaton was involved with that, and it seems as if like this was going to be a really large project, and that like everyone was excited for it. You're like, all right, cool, you get this black girl, you get Michael Keaton to come back. Wonder Woman, the second wasn't as great, but I think a lot of people did enjoy the first one. So it's all sort of like all over the place. And you have like the fact that Ezra Miller is running around like a terrorist. And, this entire time this is going on, they haven't fired him. And so it's sort of like, what is going on in DC? And then you have, and then not to add like fuel to the fire, you have the Suicide Squad as a TV show that's super well. You got Peacemaker as a show that's super well. You got Doom Patrol and Titans that people like, but that isn't connected to your universe. You have the
Yeah.
Batman, which people really, really liked, but they're like, wait, this isn't related to DC. So it's just it was just a total shit show. And like to me, I think it's super sad because I think Henry Cavill, of course, looks the part. And I think Man of Steel is a very underrated movie, but the state of where they were, it was sort of just like an agitation at this point as a fan, where I'm like, I need you to restart this and start fresh with a clear vision. Because when they first started, they were trying to catch up to the Avengers so much that
Yeah.
that they completely ignored, like, okay, people want storytelling, you know?
Yeah. They rushed it.
Yeah. Um, how did you feel? Because I know you're a big Dwayne Johnson fan. Were you bummed that it didn't work out? Did you like Black Adam? Like, how did you feel?
Dude, you know how much I love The Rock. You know how much I loved Black Adam. So, yeah, I'm bummed because I thought, okay, we got the Justice Society. Is that what they were called?
Justice League, yeah.
No, not the. They weren't the Justice League. You know,
Sorry,
the
yes,
baby ones.
yeah, the Justice Society, yeah.
Adam
Yep.
Smasher and that. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is something that we could tie into sort of like TV series, and we could really get this sort of younger cast going that way,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But instead, we're gonna get, you know, the young Superman and that story again. And I'm sorry, but that to me is a little bit redundant. We've been there before. We all know Superman's origins, you know. So
Yeah.
I get that they want to start fresh and we're going that way, but it's sort of like, okay, we're going to have to wait like another 10 years to get the Superman that we kind of I want now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's another
Yeah.
10-year wait to get what should be here already. So I see the long-term goal, but I can see why people are pissed off that,
Yeah.
you know, we've been promised so many good things for now. And now it's like everything that you wanted, we've dangled right here in front of you, and you're not going to get any of it. But we're going to give you something in the future. And they can't even show us the something. But I just think it's so stupid putting this out now. Like they've got, I thought it was only 2 movies next year. I thought it was only, only
Shazam
2
2
DC. Yeah,
and
Shazam.
Flash.
And then, yeah, I completely forgot that Aquaman was coming out because of all that Amber Heard stuff. I was like, I don't even want to hear about this crap. Like I'm so over this movie. I don't even want to watch it, to be honest, just because there's so much shit around it. So I completely forgot they had 3 movies coming out next year. So if like, why would you announce all this knowing that these movies will have absolutely no connection to anything in the future? To me, that feels disappointing. It feels like I'm watching something meh, just because.
Yeah.
And I like things linking in. As you know, with Marvel, I really like it when things tie in, even if it's just a tiny cameo or even a line thrown in there that relates to another movie in the future. So I'm a little bit like, what's the point?
It's something that I think we're used to at this point because Marvel has really made the blueprint for everything. So and honestly, even not Marvel, like it's just Star Wars, Harry Potter, like all of these are creating these universes where they're connecting things, and it just feels so strange that DC is like, it's like, are you on the same planet that we are, that everyone else is involved in? Like, what would possess you to like have all of these stories be so independent? And I know there are people out there who like things to be independent, like, you know, the Dark Knight was its own thing, fine. Robert Pattinson's Batman is its own thing, fine. But to me, it's like you can't have the individual thing like supersede your whole universe, you know? Like it's just a bad look. And yeah, I think I was disappointed primarily with how they handled it as well, because I think to your point with Black Adam, the way Black Adam ended, Black Adam wasn't a perfect movie. I think we can all admit that. I think it was a lot of fun, and it was probably one of the more enjoyable DC movies we've gotten in years, you know? Just because and it felt like it understood the tone. I think the problem with Marvel is sometimes it takes itself too seriously, but then it has these stupid jokes in it. Whereas this was like jokey from the jump. You sort of got the tone of it. And honestly, like I enjoyed it. There was, again, like we talked about the mother and the son, all that element that was but like the rest of it was really well done. And I thought, was it Adam Smasher or what's his face?
Yeah.
And
Noah
like
Centineo.
yeah, and like Hawkman, those like they were just so well done. So well done. And so like we fell in love with these characters and we just aren't going to get anything with them. And it felt like, to your point, that was a great way to introduce the young characters into the world. And I think maybe what happened is they got a sniff of that. They got a taste of it and was like, you know what? This is what we probably should have done from the jump. We probably should have started them out younger and worked and build on it from there. I know you're not super excited to see Superman's story told again, but I don't know if have you watched Smallville at all?
Yeah.
So I feel like
I think it's going to be that. That's my point. We've been here before.
Right, exactly. So we've already seen Smallville done, and you're not going to pass Smallville. You're just not.
Yeah. And it was great. I thought Smallville was great.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. But
we've moved on.
Yeah, we've already done that. I mean, it's been, I guess the way I think of it, because like you and I are older, so perhaps, and by older, I don't mean old. I mean like internet older. Like
I was going to say, you be careful, boy. My birthday's coming up, but you be careful there.
Yeah, we're both 24, right? So
21. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, but my point is like anyone who's like 20 and below, 22 and below, they probably haven't even seen Smallville because it's just been so long. I think Smallville, to me, it's a little too young in Superman's stage to give us that. But if they could find a way, because Batman's in year 2 with Robert Pattinson, if they could find a way to sort of give us that first movie where he's a teenager and then maybe the next is like a jump or something, like would that work for you? Or are you just like, no, give me the adult?
I don't know. It's hard to say because really I'm still trying to get looking past Henry Cavill, let's be honest, because I do want the Superman now. I want the adult because I've seen the rest. I want to see Superman, this ray of hope, this like I want to see the action that Superman can do. I don't want to see the lead up, the build up, the powers, the origin. I don't want any of that. I've seen it. So I'm a little bit hard to please in that sense. So I've got to sort of step back and have an open mind. But I can see, as you said, start young, build our way through. But it just feels like for at least 5 years, we're going to get that building. And I don't want that.
Yeah. And it sucks for us because like we've been like watching Marvel for years so closely and DC. So it's like we were so invested that it's like, oh, a restart now? Like, God, am I going to be dead when you guys get the Justice League? You know what I mean? Like, it's just
gray hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're going to go back to this video in like 5-10 years and be like, oh my God, they haven't even made the Justice League yet. Like, what is going on over there?
Like I understand why they have to do it, and I can see the long-term vision. I get that, and I'm glad that we're going to get there. But as somebody who's already been waiting for that and already been promised that, I feel like, well, time. Now I have to sit through crappy more like Marvel series. Come on, what's going on? I thought you were leveling up, but
oh my God, I know, and I think what it really is Warner Brothers in general. Warner Brothers has their executives like way too involved with decision making, and because their executives are like super involved, like I think the creatives don't have nearly the amount of control that they do like at Marvel, and so it affected the stories. I mean, for the life of me, I cannot understand how, if everyone loved what Zack Snyder was putting out, his daughter commits suicide, he's like, I need time off. Why the fuck wouldn't you just wait for him to come back? Like, that is the most insensitive, crazy thing I've ever heard. You know what I'm saying? And like, to me, when they put Josh Snyder at the helm, and Josh Snyder has all these allegations, and I don't think he works in Hollywood anymore. I think he's a creep. It's like, why would you just, to me, if I was an actor and I saw that you did that, I'd be like, why would I want to work with you all? It just sets a bad precedent. Whereas you look at how Marvel handled Black Panther, they were like, Chadwick wasn't even related to them, and they were like, take your time, you know?
Mm,
The world needs to take their time. And
yeah.
so like I just think when you look at how the executives run the show, it's just really two different sort of processes. And because of that, this DC reboot isn't even guaranteed to work. You know? And that's my big concern. Like, do you think that James Gunn is the right person for this? And do you think that he's gonna have the proper vision to execute this?
I do. And at the start, I already told you this like a few weeks ago. I was like, James Gunn is perfect. He's so creative. He's so fun. I loved the Suicide Squad. Like, we're going to get fun. We're going to get like this lighter tone, not so dark ish.
Yeah.
And I was really excited for it. And like now, as soon as I heard the news, I was like, ah, obviously I was disappointed. But as I said, I see where we're going. And I think right person wise, he is bold enough to make these decisions. And you can see just on the internet at the moment, people call it arrogance, people call it insulting to the fans, things like this, him saying, you know, this outcry, people, you know, basically calling the haters out on hating him and saying all these negative things towards him, which sometimes are too far. I get people are hurt, I get that, but yeah, sometimes people take it way too far.
Too far.
And he handles that backlash like he don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? And we've been there before with his Twitter shit. He don't give a fuck. He's still going to keep going. You know what I mean? So he's got
and
a
you have to
vision
be
in
that
mind.
way. I feel you have to be that way when you're in charge. Like, you can't let the, you know, the zoo run the show here, because then you like I feel like that's sort of DC's problem in the first place. Like, honestly, if you're the executive of Warner Brothers, you should have never let the Snyderverse happen. The Snyder Cut, you should have never let that happen, because even if the way the internet works, even if the Snyderverse was terrible, the internet's going to go, wow, this was amazing. Just because they want to do the opposite, just because they want to create chaos. You know what I mean?
No, we know what you mean.
Yeah, like, that's just, the people are assholes. That's just how it works. So, but did you ever watch the Zack Snyder Justice League?
No, I did watch a comparison maybe 2 nights ago, and holy crap, like, to be fair, I did love the Snyder one better. Character development, the arc, everything like that just seemed to have so much more story in it. I mean, I know it was an extra 2 hours long, but again, it divided the fandom. Do you know what I mean? It was like the Snyder people, or whatever they call themselves, the Snyderverse.
Snyder people.
I don't know.
The Snyderverse. Yeah.
And it divided the fandom, and I think that's a little bit silly, because you're never going to win if people are like fighting within your franchise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think you will anyway.
But it's just like, I mean, is it rocket science to look at this? Like, I mean, the one on the right looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the one on the left looks way better.
Yeah.
You look at like the top right, it's like, is that like, I'm not quite sure what this is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel right. And then Wonder Woman's on her own versus with the actual freaking team.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much.
But like, even some of the lines, dude, they were comparing like some of the comedic lines that were in there. And, you know, like Ezra said some really, really corny stuff in it. And same with Aquaman. He said something about like, oh, the Amazon women were hot, or, you know, like just really so campy. And it was like, oh, what?
Yeah. Josh, I mean, like I said, Josh Whedon is a creep, so it doesn't really surprise me. I remember that Gal Gadot was talking about how when she was on set, Josh Whedon wanted to have a scene where the Flash comes over to her and like motorboats her boobs. And
well, he literally landed on her at one point in that movie, in the 2017 one, the Justice League. He lands on her in her, you know, whatever.
Boobs, and
it's like, huh? What? And the comparison in the other one is just way different.
And so he and Josh Whedon wanted him to like motorboat her boobs, and like she was She was like, one, that's not happening. Number two,
Mm.
if you want it to happen, you should get a body double. But number three, I wouldn't even let it happen with the body double because then it looks as if this is my representation of who I am. And
And who
four,
Wonder
that has
Woman is.
nothing to do with anything at all. Like you're a weirdo, you know?
Yeah.
And so like to look at that versus what Snyder put out, it's not even close. And what I personally loved about the Snyder Cut was that it was like 4 hours because I didn't watch it in one. No, listen, I didn't watch it in one sitting. He broke it up
Okay.
into chapters. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch chapter 1 today. The next day I watched chapter 2, and then I did it like that, like a series, and
Right.
it flowed so beautifully, so well. And I was like, wow, like I think because every creator, when you make something, it's always you have 10,000 hours of footage, and then you want to like put it into 2 hours. You're like, oh my god, I have to cut this and this. So I'm like, so why not let them tell that full story, but break it up? So I was like, maybe the Snyder Cut thing will be something that Hollywood tries out, where they're like, all right, part 1 and part 2 is here, and then part 3 and part 4 will be released later in the year or something. Like, imagine they released like half the movie in like December, and then the other half of the movie in like March. It's like you'll have people buzzing about the movie for quite some time. Like, and so I'm like, oh,
yes
you wouldn't,
and no.
you wouldn't
Because
go.
I would personally, but I've seen so much hate lately because they've just done this with Titans. They've split the series into part 1 and part 2 sort of thing. So we've just had season 4, part 1, and the next will come out in March next year. And people are like, what are we waiting for? Why do we have to wait? And sometimes I don't think that's a good idea. Like sometimes it might pay off, but you need to have like a really big, a really tight sort of, you want this conclusion and you're really hanging for this, and some shows or some movies might not have that. So yeah, you got to be, it's a fine line, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because I think about Stranger Things too. Stranger Things did the same thing, and I was like, perfect. It worked so well to me. I mean, it was just genius. Like, probably some of the best television we've gotten in a decade. Like, honestly, like I thought that was the best series. So,
but compare that to Wednesday. Would you have been as hanging for a second half of Wednesday? Probably not.
No. So, but I think the difference is those are television and with a film of this magnitude, it's like for example, like let's think of the Avengers. That is like a mega movie. It's like you got everyone in it. So take your time, give us a great story. Don't leave any meat on the bone, and really present something that makes us go wow. And DC just cannot figure out that wow factor to me. What are some of your favorite DC projects? I know you mentioned Peacemaker and you liked Suicide Squad. Are there any others that you like in particular think like, wow, like they should really go this direction?
Not now, not with a reboot. I think they're gonna start seriously, get rid of everybody and start fresh.
Wait. So you want them to get rid of the shows too?
I'm not really quite sure. It's going to be hard to do that because obviously Peacemaker has brought in a lot. Like Peacemaker's pretty hot, pretty popular.
Yeah.
So if you just scrap that, I mean, I don't think that's a good move. But at the same time, you need to be bold enough to say, all right, I'm not going to keep my friends around. I need to cut everybody. Like you can't just be selective. And let's be honest, John Cena is a favorite. Margot Robbie is a favorite. There's these sort of people that he's going to keep around.
I think Jason Momoa. They were discussing potentially having Jason Momoa play the character Lobo. Have you seen this?
No, I didn't.
So
but again, cut him. I'm sorry, but if you're going to cut big names like Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, you can't just pick and choose. That is not going to make anybody in the DC world happy if you're going, oh, I want this person, but I don't want you. I want a young, how the fuck can you have a young Superman and then have someone like Jason Momoa, who looks like my dad, play, do you know what I mean? Play
totally.
Aquaman. It's just not going to fit. If you want young, you need to recast young and do exactly what he's doing now, which again, I was upset by, but I see the end game of it. And I see that it needs to be done in order to move forward and move on from this Snyder versus so-and-so versus whatever. And, Black Adam's taking the hierarchy of whatever. Like, we need to move on from that and just start fresh. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't fully
You don't want to
disagree, but I also don't.
recast.
No, I don't fully disagree, but I also don't fully agree because I think the way I see it is like you make a couple adjustments with some of these movies and they really do work for me. But there was just and like it's like you said, like we really love Henry Cavill, so it's like, okay, is there a scenario where because they're gonna play with the multiverse because that's hot right now, it's what everyone wants. They're gonna do it with the Flash. So is there a scenario where we could see Superman as a mentor or someone from Krypton, or is there a universe where he makes a cameo? I don't know. Like, but to me, someone like Jason Momoa is such a big name and likable, and he's a specimen. Look at him. He looks like, I mean, he looks like he was like charred by the gods or something. So it's like you sort of want to like keep this guy around because if you don't, who's gonna go get him? Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse, right? And so I think that's more where their mindset is with it. But it's gonna be hard to shake because like I feel like, as you said, like Harley Quinn and Aquaman, and like we've already got them imprinted in our head. Like you give me Henry Cavill as, I don't know, actor number 3, like we're gonna be like, why the fuck is Superman walking down the street right now? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's where I think it's kind of difficult. But I actually do think the Jason Momoa as this guy Lobo, I could see that working. Um, but do you think that they should scrap the Flash movie and the Aquaman 2 movie along with what was the other one?
Shazam there.
Shazam, yes.
No, you can't scrap them. You've made them. You're going to lose money. They're not going to scrap them. But to me, I think they're going to lose money by the fact that they have announced this now. Why did they announce it? Why could they not just have this private conversation with Henry or Gal or whoever the hell they're cutting and just say, look, we're going to keep this under wraps until,
Yeah.
I don't know, 2023 at least, or I don't know, some date, because it just is such a dampening, and it sort of like reminds me of that Don't Worry Darling with Olivia Wilde, all that drama that
Yeah.
was happening off air. People were saying, oh, it's to promote the movie. It's like, but is it? Bless you. Is it?
Thank you.
Because
No.
it's not working. And same
No,
with this.
right.
I don't think it's working. I think all this negative, it's just going to break the movies down so that you've got the people that will watch it purely because it's DC and they just want to see, like me, I just want to watch
Yeah.
it. But then you've got people who are like, well, it's not linking with anything, and it doesn't, like, we're never going to see these people again. Let's be honest. We're never going to see Ezra Miller again. We're never going to see Gal again. We're never going to see Superman. And I don't know whether those scenes were cut, as people have said, the cameos might have been cut out. Regardless, what is it? It's just like a standalone. And it was linked into things before, but now it's a standalone. So it's like a little bit confusing.
I think it's tough because on top of the fact that the script sucked, like you had all this outside legal drama with like fucking half the cast and directors. So I don't know if it's just like Warner Brothers is some creepy island that they like pluck people from or something, but I'm like, you had like all these weirdos that they were plucking and working together. And so then I'm honest. I'm like, you don't have to agree with me, Jamie Lee, but
I'm not,
honest.
because I'm going to be
like,
so careful with what I say right now.
yeah. You don't have, like, it's all right, man. I mean, it fucking creeps over there, but and like if they have an issue with it, okay, well, the Circle Club, we condemn freaks. Sorry. I didn't know that was a hot take, but it's like you can't have a universe where I sort of looked at it like with Marvel with Shuri, right? Like whether you think the vaccine you should get it or not, whatever. Like when she didn't do that for Marvel, like in my opinion, I was sort of like, huh, like I guess you're not willing to do everything for to be the like face of Marvel, because Black Panther was, you would think this is the face of the Avengers, because like who else do we have at this point? And so that was sort of like a red flag to me, but it all ended up working out fine. But with DC, they can't afford to have these hiccups because they don't have the same cachet that Marvel does. Marvel is way more established. They can make mistakes. Like, all the jokes that She-Hulk got for being as bad as it was, if She-Hulk shows up later, we're gonna be fine. Like we trust that like they're gonna look at the mistakes that they made in She-Hulk and not repeat them. DC, absolutely not. And we don't have any reason to believe that they won't do that. Um, I feel like if they're gonna keep anyone, it should be Zachary Levi because first off, I went into that movie no friends, no girlfriend. No, I just was like, screw it, I'm gonna walk in and try this out. And I was like, I walked out, I was like, holy crap, that was good. Like
Yeah.
I was not expecting that to be good.
Yeah.
And it's funny and its tone is perfect. And I think it's really perfect because he's a kid inside of a man's body and along with the friend. So it just works.
Yeah.
But the costumes look really dope. The how Shazam interacted with the real world felt like Marvel. Like, you know, when you're watching Marvel and you're like, oh, I can see this happening. And for
Yeah.
some reason, this is the only DC property where I'm like, this feels realistic.
Yeah.
I think they could keep Shazam in this ongoing universe because he hasn't really interacted with anyone else, has he?
No, but then you would have the comic book fans that would get cross because, you know, he's not linking in with Black Adam. He's not linking up with Superman to fight Black Adam, things like this. So again, it's a fine line of who are you trying to please? And I think that James Gunn is like, no one, you know, he's got what he wants in his mind and he don't give a shit what anybody thinks or does about it. Like this is what he wants and this is where we're going to go. And I feel like I'm trusting that, you know what I mean? Because he's worked alongside Marvel. He knows
Feige, yep.
Right. He knows the end game. And
no pun intended.
right. Yeah, I just think that he's got a long-term vision and sure people are going to be pissed off along the way. I mean, I was one of them at the start, don't get me wrong, but I can see where it's leading to and I have faith that if he casts correctly, you know, and things are written well, then we can get to a good spot eventually in 10 years time.
So there's rumors going around that James Gunn is sort of focusing the new DCU, and it'll be inspired by the Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice, which is sort of this group right here that we've come to know over the years. You got Martian Manhunter, Shazam, blah blah blah. And so to me, Dr. Fate. So to me, this is kind of why I think it could still work because we haven't seen Shazam in the current DCEU interact with anyone. So why not have James Gunn take Shazam as, you know, one of the first movies of this new universe, and that can be the first sort of link to other things going on. I think the only reference they made in Shazam was like a kid was like, "Oh, are you Superman?" Like something like that. And that
how
sort of
do you
gives
think that is going to work though? If you're having a child or a teenager play Superman, linking in with someone like Shazam, how can you link it in with Jason Momoa, who's like 50? You know, I won't.
Well, no. So I don't think Jason Momoa sticks around unless he does a different role. But I think with Shazam it could work because he doesn't age. So he sort of plays this kid and also adult, right? So, like technically, you could have him interact with a younger version of Superman, Wonder Woman, but it looks like we don't know the direction they're going. Is ultimately the issue. If they decide that they want to stay older, I think that's how you fit it in. But if they want to go younger, like it's saying that they want to go Young Justice route, or have these sort of Young Justice characters along for the ride, well, that's a bit more complex. That's a bit more complex because you're not only having to introduce the main heroes, but sidekicks. And that's one thing, if you notice, Marvel does not have. All the Marvel heroes do not have sidekicks. And they've never had them. I think in the comic world, Rick has been the only one and he's like a normal human and he just sort of represents us. But as far as sidekicks go, Marvel has them because it gets complicated. It's like, okay, does Robin get his own movie? or do you introduce Robin in Batman's movie? In some of these other characters. Have you watched any of the Young Justice?
No, but looking at that now, like I know, the characters from Titans,
Titans,
and that's
yeah,
another thing too. That if you've got these, like chronologically, is that the word that I'm looking for? Like
chronologically.
they're in the same universe, but
Yeah,
Batman's around, but he's not in this universe, and
yeah,
it gets really confusing. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be really
yes.
careful if they're going to introduce that. What are they going to do? Stop streaming Titans? Are they going to can that project, sort of thing? So
I I I was like flabbergasted that Titans never entered the DC like extended universe. I was like, I know they had different casting for Batman and blah, but I'm like, why the hell wouldn't you like? This is what I mean about DC. I'm like, Marvel sucks at TV shows. Let's be honest. Like the TV shows that Marvel puts out are okay. They're like not on the same level as the movies. Whereas DC, they seem to have a pretty good footing with their TV shows, but their movies stink. So it's like, why would you not sort of lean on the TV shows? Do you think there's a universe where they take some of the characters from Titans and put them into the movies now that James Gunn is involved?
no.
You just think the whole thing is going to start fresh?
Yes.
Oh my God, Jamie, give us some hope.
Yeah.
Give us
No,
some
I'm
hope.
sorry. I got to be a bit tight-lipped, but honestly, no. I think start fresh. He wants young Superman. Have young Superman. Have young Gal. Have everybody
Oh,
start fresh.
I
Go
get
through the
it.
route.
I get
Yeah.
why you have to be tight-lipped because you're friends with Superboy now. So you got you got the in. Just so you guys know, Jamie Lee has she interviewed Mr. Superboy, and just an insane thing to happen, honestly. But no, I'm teasing, but just so you guys can see here, like no jokes, no jokes. This is
You're
legitimate.
lovely.
Like but anywho, let's reel this back in. This isn't the Jamie Lee in the front row show.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I trust James Gunn too. I think James Gunn will do the right thing. You know me, I'm not a big Guardians guy, but I really like the Guardians special.
I love Guardians. It's literally they're like my favorite family, apart from my little Avengers family. Like yeah, and just it's so much fun. He just brings fun. And as you said with Shazam, I found Shazam fun. I didn't think it was dark. I didn't think it was like, oh gosh, this is a little bit on the side, bit serious. It was fun, and if that's where they're going to go by bringing James Gunn in and having, I mean, you can't really make, like Batman too fun, but do you know what I mean? Like it's just going to have a lighter
tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And I'm down for that.
I feel like James Gunn is an interesting choice to like be in charge. I feel like James Gunn should be the co-chair, or like there should be someone, because the thing about James Gunn for me is, and maybe I need to watch Guardians as like a fully grown adult, because I saw it when I was younger, when it first came out. I saw the second when it came to the movies, and I was like, I really like the special. I'm sorry.
My heart right now is
I know. But I know it's a hot take because I know everyone loves the Guardians. It just didn't do anything for me, which I was disappointed. But I feel like James Gunn, when it comes to comedy and action, is just, because I love Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and all that kind of stuff that they've done over there. But it didn't work for me. But Peacemaker is like a very special type of show. It can only really exist in the DC universe. Marvel could not pull that off. And so I think that works with some of the characters. What I'll be interested to see is, how does he handle, as you said, a Batman or a Superman, or a Martian Manhunter? Like those characters aren't really as jokey. So what is his style there? Like how does he perform when it comes to drama? That is going to be a big question that I have. And he's not necessarily going to be directing those ones. He's just in charge of the whole thing. But, you know, you ask a comedy writer to write a drama, it's not always the easiest task. So
I'm sorry, but if you watch Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 and you don't feel drama, you don't feel or cry in that, just gonna throw that out there.
I'm sorry, Jamie. I'm sorry. It just didn't move me the way that I wanted it to. Like, I was
did
like,
not feel
I mean,
when Peter's mum died and he was alone and he was picked up by this strange man who took him under his wing and became his dad.
But no, like that's what I mean. Like, those are moments, and those moments were powerful. But like, the problem is, it's like then like 5 minutes later, someone makes a joke about poop, and I'm like, you kind of you had me going, and then someone goes poop, and I'm like, okay, you're right, great, thank you for taking me out of the moment.
Okay.
So
I'm so opposite of the spectrum there, because I just think the relationship that he built up, like this fatherly sort of vibe, that even led through into the Christmas special where, you know, they had this sort of animated version where he was giving him the presents, and we found out at the very end that, you know, he gave Peter a present, you know, things like that. That was from years ago, their relationship began. And it's like, I don't know, I feel it, and I feel family. And I like that.
Yeah, no, and that's where I think he really won me over as a fan, because I already liked the Peacemaker. Then I was like, let me check out this Guardian special. And to your point, I thought in the Guardian special, he really executed that super well, because he had those moments. And also, it's like, it was very playful, but like not playful in the sense it was dumb. It felt like, okay, it makes sense with these two characters. Like, I genuinely was laughing throughout the entire special. Like, I think that special might be one of the better things that they've put out. So if it's more like that, I think fine, it'll be good. But I just wonder, like, with a Batman, like, I don't know, like, what does that style work with a Batman?
I can see it personally, but I don't know, maybe I'm just hopeful. I'm not sure. Maybe call me Superman.
You're like, I'm hopeful, and you're a piece of
No.
No, I know.
Your opinion's different, whatevs. But I've got faith that it's going to work and it's going to be good. But we have to get there. Do you know what I mean? And it's a long time to get there. And there's so much hate. See this guy here? I had no idea who he was. I had different names down because, you know, you asked me who I thought. And at first I was like, man, this I haven't thought. You know, like, I'm still getting over the fact that Henry Cavill is not going to be my Superman. And it took a long time to get over that. But I guess, you know, you have to realize that you don't always get what you want. You know, the relationships that you want to have, you don't always get them. And so you get attached to these people like I did. And just cut strings and just have to go, all right, well, that's not it anymore. So you move on. That's what I've learned to do over the past, you know, however many weeks they've announced it, a week now. But this guy here looks fantastic. He looks like a Superman. I've never seen him in The Politician, so I don't know how he acts, but you need that look, let's be honest, firstly. I know names have been thrown out like Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi is my Batman, dude. Like, he is moody. He is bratty. He is just Bruce to me. Like, he could pull that. But Superman, Sorry, do you want to talk about casting? Because I'm just diving in there.
Excuse me. No, that's exactly what we're gonna do here. So, the reason I pulled this one up is because when we had started talking about this, I was like, Robert Pattinson is my Batman. Anyone else that they pull, it's just gonna make me go whatever at this point, because I was so moved by his performance and his universe. Like, is like Colin Farrell. I love Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell is like one of my favorite actors. Like, so they just had all the chops. Zoe was fantastic. Like, oh, I fucking love that movie. And so to even entertain the fact of like, not, it's like, okay, you have it in year 2 and you're trying to sort of reboot this. You could easily have him stay in the universe, get older, pass along to Robin. They're not going to do it, though. They're not going to do it.
It's going to confuse so many people because they've already said this is a standalone thing. So you can't have this thing where you say, no, this is separate. It's on its own. But wait a minute.
But why? But the thing, this is why, like Marvel tells us things all the time. Oh, we're not doing anything with the Black Panther. Like studios lie to set us off because honestly, why do we need to know everything that they're going to do? Do we need to know everything?
No,
whatever happened to things being just a bit of a surprise, and
keep this a freaking surprise. Like, don't tell us this before you drop 3 movies that people are probably not going to watch. It's just a fucking stupid decision.
It is like they should have been, in my opinion, Henry Cavill should have been out, Dwayne should have been out, and they should have, as you said, did the next 2 movies, been already working on the next reboots and stuff, and move on.
Yeah.
Like, when are we even going to get this next Man of Steel or Superman movie?
A friend of mine, I thought he said 2024. So, like, quite soon they want to pump early. But that makes me think. That makes me think this was planned previously. If James Gunn has already been working on this stuff, again, why was it not swept under the rug? Why was it brought out now? You know, like, why did they have Henry Cavill announce? And I know that wasn't James. It's nothing to do with James Gunn. I'm not trying to blame him. But why did...
You are, but okay.
No, I'm not. I'm down. I'm down the gun. Yeah.
I know you.
So down. Why did they have him announce it? You know, it just seems like a marketing ploy that it was to boost ratings for Black Adam. You know, you've got the Rock with Henry Cavill, friends, you know, boosting each other up and whatnot.
Sure.
And I just feel like it was a low blow from a studio point of view. So I just think it was a silly decision that really should have waited. This should have been a surprise next year or the following year, 2024, if they were going to bring out a movie. I'm not sure when or what's going on, but announce it a bit later, not before you drop 3 movies that will be affected by this, because I truly think they're going to be affected.
So who are some of the recasts that you would like to see in this?
First, again, I really like the guy because he looks like Superman. And
he's an American.
All right, okay. I got the list up because I was thinking of names and things like this, and the people that I was thinking were like the 35, 36. Okay. And if you look at it like that, Henry Cavill is what? 39. So it's like, why not just keep him? If it's an age thing, you know? So I liked, firstly, that guy's 26, so that's ideal, right?
Okay.
26 years old, that's pretty young. But I liked Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who is obviously Quicksilver, and he was in Kick-Ass.
I'll look him up for us here. Aaron
Have you watched Bullet Train? Yeah. Have you seen Bullet Train? That's his most recent one. Oh, dude, come on. It's a killer. So much fun.
I do know his work, though. I've seen this guy.
He's Wanda's brother in Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, maybe not with that hair looking like that, but he's got charisma. Okay. I look at him and I see youth, even though he's quite old. I think he's 35, 30. Let me have a look. He's in his 30s anyway.
32?
He's 32. See, young, quite young.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could see someone like him.
So it's interesting because you told me that you had no interest in Jacob Elordi playing this role as Superman. Which is I can see that. I mean, I like a lot of these people on this list that they have here. I can sort of see more as Batman. Jacob Elordi definitely could do a moody Batman, but like I said, we already have a Batman in my head. But to me, I feel like David Corenswet would be a better Batman than Superman. I feel like Superman needs to be sort of like lanky, sort of nerdy, but then like can turn it on. And I know you haven't seen White Lotus, but there's this guy named Adam DeMarco who I'm like, this dude just reminds me of Superman. Like he's a really good actor from you can see in the White Lotus, but like he has this sort of innocence and like hopeful. Like the whole time you're watching the White Lotus, you're like God, this kid is hopeful and just like almost like blindly optimistic, where you're like, dude, do you realize what's going on in the world? And so he kind of gives me that like fresh, clean boy look. But I believe he's in his 30s. 32, 32. And so I could see him sort of playing that Clark Kent role pretty well. He'd have to beef up probably a little bit for the actual Superman when that happens, but he would be my pick personally for Superman.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like the second, and I like this that second kid um, for Batman. I wasn't even thinking about Jacob Elordi. That'd be an interesting one. But I like the second kid as Batman because he looks so smooth and suave to me, and I'm like, yeah, I know this guy. Like if anyone's gonna like show up Robert Pattinson a little bit, it could be this guy.
I don't think they're going to go with the Robert Pattinson down that route. So yeah, I'm thinking Jacob Elordi, because I don't look at Jacob Elordi and see hope in all of his movies, like be it series Euphoria. Like fuck me dead, man. We're going from this to like Mr. Save the World.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even, things like The Kissing Booth and stuff, like I loved those movies, if I'm being honest with you. That's my cheesy shit right there. But I just don't see him as this good guy, this beacon of hope. And that's what I want from my Superman, like just visually looking at, let alone charisma and chemistry with people and things and acting abilities, like just just being based on their appearance alone, like I know that's a little bit stereotypical and kind of nasty for us to be judging on purely appearance, but that plays a huge part of
it. It's a big part of it. Yeah.
And I mean, imagine somebody like that cute little kid there, that the one that I said looked like Batman, playing alongside Lois Lane, like Maya Hawke, for example, as Lois. You know what I mean? That kid there, Maya, Lois, like, I don't know. I can see it. I like him. I've never seen him act, so this is purely on the fact that he looks like Superman.
No, I mean, look, honestly, a big part of, in my opinion, a big part of why I think DC sort of failed is because they went with so heavily on the look. Like I totally get why people are like, oh yeah, Henry Cavill looks like Man of Steel, or Superman, and like there is a sort of like it takes you a transform into the character instantly. But like it's like I said, Marvel does it all the time where like they don't really look like the character, they sort of look like the character, but they put on these performances that like that take you away into the world. So I'm not as like keen that it has to look exactly the same way as long as the performance is there. Because I don't think Maya Hawke looks like Lois, but I think I could definitely see her playing a Lois type because she's a badass,
I could see her pulling it off. But again, like who would you cast as that, or who would you cast as Wonder Woman? Like think beyond Superman sort of thing. Who would link in?
The first one that comes to my head would be Anna de Armas.
Anna de Armas. Yeah.
I don't know how old she is. Let me see.
I think she's older. I think she's like
34. She's
34. 34. Okay.
So she's. I mean, I think she's young enough to play Wonder Woman. Personally, no.
No, I do. I had her on my list, but my favorite is Zoe. I never know how to pronounce her name. Is it
Deschanel?
No. Zoe I love Deutsch. Her though, and she's 28. She's been in Set It Up. Have you watched that? And you would know her from Zombieland too.
I saw Zombieland. Yeah. I've seen her in like a bunch of random things. So I know her work. She would. Ironically, I feel like.
I mean, she doesn't look like Wonder Woman, but when I look at her, I see hope. I see like really elegant. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I was thinking Lois Lane. Maybe I was thinking maybe a Lois Lane character.
Yeah, maybe.
It's so hard.
Nina from the Vampire Diaries, maybe, but I think she's a little bit older. Yeah, her.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
Yeah,
Wonder Woman. Put on black wig on that.
Yeah,
about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I mean, so when I think about Albie being 32 and Anna being 34 and them being in the same range, but I guess it's like, and they also can I feel like they play a bit younger as well. They look younger than they are. This dude, and Anna de Armas. I feel like they look a little bit younger, but it's like you said, it's like if they are they going young or are they going adult? Because if it's young, then fuck me, I have no idea. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
I
You
don't think
know?
they're going to go. Yeah, they will probably cast a young, sort of like they did in Man of Steel. You know, they had the sort of younger scenes, and then, you know, maybe I think they're going to do, as I said, the Smallville sort of route. You know, that sort of age, that teen years sort of thing. You know, in their 20s. I don't think young
We
is the
don't
way
need
to
to.
go.
Yeah, it's like you said, we don't need to see that again, though. It's like, oh, I mean,
Mm,
I get it. Honestly, it sucks for us, but like for the people who are like 14 and 16, like it'll be perfect for them. So, and because it is, and because you're saying, and because you're saying James Gunn is sort of like his mindset is like, I don't really give a shit right now. That sort of tells me that like it's not looking good for you and me, Jamie Lee.
we're the ones that buy the tickets. We're the ones that go to the cinema. I don't know of any 14-year-old kids that are like, I'm getting a job so I can go to the movies. You know?
I know. And actually, I saw a stat during the pandemic. I don't know if it's still true that Gen Z is actually less interested in superheroes than millennials. So know
Yeah.
your audience. Know your audience.
Yeah.
I think a really hard one to cast is Wonder Woman for me. I mean, Gal Gadot, as you know, she is like
Perfect.
my Henry Cavill. She's just perfect,
Yeah.
perfect casting. She's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. She's gorgeous. Like has a great soul. And like, dude, I just feel like when you're gonna do a universe, there needs to be time. There needs to be breathing room. You saying that Man of Steel or Superman is coming out in 2024, this thing
No,
is gonna.
don't quote me to that. But I definitely think it's going to be soon. They're going to want to pump it out quicker than not. And yeah, I
That's what
mean,
she
why
said.
not?
No, but
Hey now.
look, when I got my friend from down under, I got to be a little cheeky. So, but yeah, no, I think
Oh.
that would be a mistake. That would be a mistake to do it too quick. Like,
But
but
people
you
are
know,
waiting and they're going to wait 10 years. And that's what they're pissed off about. They've got to wait to get this Superman that we've been wanting now. We want adult. I want adult Superman. I want to see Superman saving the world, for God's sake. I do not want to see him grow up and struggle with real world situations. We've seen it. We've been there. Plus, I've already seen it in Titans. You know, like I've literally
yeah,
just seen this clone come out of a tank and literally have to struggle with money, traffic lights, relationships, a first girlfriend, first kiss, everything first. I don't want to see all that again. I'm sorry, but I don't.
and I don't. Let me. I've stolen your time too much here, so let me wrap this up. But
Mm.
just the last little point is like think about this. This is going to be the key thing that shapes everything that DC does. Marvel. So you're talking 2024. If we get a new Captain America movie in 2024, Thunderbolts, Blade, Loki season 3, probably, it's like DC's gonna be forced to put something out. They're gonna be forced. You have to because you're gonna be missing the ball. But I just I don't know.
Which
I'm
one of
not
them
hopeful.
movies were 2024 though? Wasn't it only Cap?
Thunderbolts, Captain America, Blade, and I
Blade was
believe there's
pushed back, I'm pretty sure. So I think there's only like 2.
and I
Oh, the Marvels.
think
Okay. Ugh.
yeah, the Marvels I have here
Cool.
2023, but I have okay, no. We love the Marvels here, okay? Um we'll save that for another stream. No, but like I think they're gonna probably sneak in like a Secret Wars or Kang movie in there or some sort of Avengers movie, but DC just I'm not hopeful. This is my final stance. What on the state
You're
of
the Batman, I'm the
DC?
Superman, bruh.
Yeah. My final stance is I don't think DC is going to stick this landing if they rush this. I think 10 years is way too long to have a Superman, so you need to give us Superman now. I think that overall, if you can't find a way to keep Shazam in this universe and make it work, you're fucked because Shazam was already it was already so hard to like introduce that character in the first place because it wasn't as popular. So DC is screwed. Your final take?
You heard it here first, folks. Bloody hell. What a dampener. I am your beacon of hope, YouTubers who are listening.
Usually it's the opposite. Usually it's the opposite.
Right. Usually I'm like, oh, everything's shit. Oh, God, life's so shit.
Oh, my God.
This movie sucked. And now it's you, roles reversed. Surprise. Hope we don't have one of our... I'm not even going to go there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Scrap that out. Cut that out. Fuck, we're live. Anyway, so my final take on it is that I do believe that they are going to stick the landing. I think if anyone can do it, James Gunn can do it. I have faith in him. Yes, I was hurt by, the cuts and things, but when you look at the long-term goal, I can see why it's happening. I can see why we need it. It's going to be long, let's be honest. Like, it's going to take us ages to get to this point where we're like, oh my God, Superman's great. But I think if they cast correctly and they don't cast somebody, like I heard even names dropping like Michael B. Jordan. You can't do that. You can't take somebody that we already know and expect the audience to appreciate them and accept them in this new role. You just can't do it. It's got to be someone fresh. It's got to be someone new. It's got to be young if that's the route that they want to take, like 20 years for him to 10 years for him to grow up. So cut, reboot, or recast and start again. It's the only way to have this clean slate.
The only way, and I'll end you with this, the only way I could possibly see Michael B. Jordan entering is if they went a route where there's a black Superman, which we've never seen before. But I would almost want that to be its own thing, its own individual thing, sort of how the Batman is. Because I think with Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, it works super well. But it works well because it's its own thing. It has nothing to do with Marvel.
And it's a franchise that's already, as we've talked about, it's already at its peak. You can't expect DC to go and introduce, this dark Superman when we can't even fucking cast a Superman. You know what I mean? You can't expect. You can't jump to here when we're only here. It's baby steps, man.
Yeah, and would you be open to the idea of, if they are going to take their 10 years and go slow, of them making adult Superman movies like separately, sort of how they have with Batman?
I mean, yeah, but then that's just confusing, and that's what they want to cut. They want to cut the confusion. Like, for example, the Batman. I don't think there will be another The Batman. I think that's it. I think they're cutting.
If they don't bring Robert Pattinson back, I will not watch another DC movie. I won't.
I don't think they will, dude.
I won't do it. I won't do it. You've heard it here first. You will be getting all your DC recaps from Jamie Lee. I will repost her videos onto my channel. I will not be watching DC if they get rid of Robert Pattinson. And that's my final take. Thank you so much for coming on, Jamie Lee. You are just a gem to be here. It means a lot to me. I love your stuff. I love your work as always. Like I told you guys, you need to go over to her channel, check her stuff out, because she has the best interviews in the world, honestly. Like, I think you get the best out of people. I'm not even kidding. I'm not just saying that as your friend. Like, really done. I didn't even see this Cocaine Bear trailer one. I knew you were talking, but I got to check this one out. We also did Cocaine Bear, and it was that's a wild movie.
Fun ride, wasn't it?
Totally,
a real trip.
All right, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for coming on, Jamie Lee. And we will be doing these more bi-weekly and coming on. So make sure you subscribe, because I'm gonna head on to her channel on our Saturdays. So see you then. Merry Christmas and happy birthday, Miss Jamie Lee. Thank you for coming on.